There'll be nothing to pick up when I'm done with
What
you.
is up, guys? Got a fun deck for you today. Today's deck, trying out the new Skellige cards, bolstering that Rain archetype, diving in and seeing what kind of power it has. All the new cards I think are pretty good except for Sea Serpent. I think that is absolute trash. I would not play it. I'd swap it out for something else. There are a lot of better things you can play. It just kind of has the issue of, you want all this rain damage, and so for that rain damage to accrue basically, and then to play that after, you kind of bolster it up. But you don't really want a 5p card kind of being more of a last say. It just kind of creates some awkward sequencing, and just really isn't worth it. You kind of find that you're honestly only playing it for like just straight out of hand. So it's like a 4 for 5, or maybe like 1 or 2 rain damage, so 5 for 5, 6 for 5, and just the damage there isn't worth it. Like if it was 4 damage, maybe, but I just think it's really bad. I'd swap it out. Fortunately, draw Anglerfish there, which that card is actually really good, and a lot of interesting interactions with that. We're gonna give you some good tempo, but then you can also have it go back into your deck to then come out later. But regardless, providing 2 thinning or whatever, an extra tempo on top of already having Knickers and Roach, just really solid combo. And then Ryogon's already in the graveyard, so this deck pretty much always sees what it wants to see, which is really nice. Now as for game plan, obviously if you can play Melusine early, you can get a lot of value from that, a lot of carryover that we can later pull out, and can have some benefit here of a lot of different resurrects, because we have Fukusha, and then we have Sigdrifa's Right, and then with Bride of the Sea, you can also replay Sigdrifa's Right. And so Melusine, only gains Vel now off of deploy, so you have to be paying a little attention that when you resurrect her, she is going to get doomed. Just something to keep in mind. Anyways, so that's good to play for carryover. Another good thing for like round 1 would be Operator onto Messenger of the Sea. Being able to play 1 or 2 messengers in a round can just straight up carry you or give you the easy win. And then basically, like, if you can go like all out in a round, get a bunch of messengers down, and then just as much rain, storm. We only really have one thing that's given us storm, which is Kraken, but get storm on a row, pile up rain, and then pull out Ryogon. It can just be absolute board wipe and 100-point swings and all that sort of madness. It's really crazy, and that was already in the deck before. There's not a whole lot changing in that regard, except for the phenomenal card with phenomenal artwork, Kelpie, which just further bolsters how strong that is. Because not only, at least in this version, we're getting 5 turns of rain on a row, which is really, really nice. You can push that towards 6 if you wanted, adding a couple more beasts to the deck, or even 4 turns is fine. But regardless of that nice deploy value, it also just has this engine capability, which is maybe slightly overtuned, slightly here, because it's anytime. It's not just like once per turn. It's like however many times they take damage from rain or storm, it's going to boost other beasts for that. So especially when you have storm on a row, it is going to shell out a whole lot of points. Which is really crazy. So that to me is standout card. It's basically auto include. The last one here is kind of Kraken. You could go without it, and you could probably try and push like a Golden Necker version, because those versions always tend to be the best and are absolutely cracked. But Kraken, no pun intended, the cracked Kraken, can be pretty sweet. Again, for getting that storm entirely on a row, and then damaging 3 units by 2, and then Death Wish can be a little bit hit or miss. If you're playing Ryogon, you should be good. Storm a couple turns, then put some rain, Ryogon comes out, and then it pops on your side. We've got a lot of different beasts. Can really give you some solid value, but it is a little awkward because you want to play it early in the round, but you'll find that because your opponent doesn't have many cards, you either are pulling cards out of a row with rain on, like you know, all the cards that they have, you're now pulling off the row onto yours, putting Storm on it, so then Rain on the other row is kind of not getting any value. But if you kind of play it too late, then you're going to kind of struggle to actually get that Death Wish. So I think it's a card that's definitely cuttable. I don't think it's like it's a stretch to play it, or you're just kind of playing it for the fun. Like, I think it is decent, solid value, and have some good stuff with it. But I do think you could cut that and run some other stuff if you wanted. I think the Anglerfish and Kelpie are the auto includes for the Rain archetype here. Sea Serpent is trash. Don't play it. I just really wouldn't. I kind of had one here just to do it because new cards, but. This deck is usually pretty good at the 2-0 based on the kind of hand you have, and especially if you have Melusine carryover, because that can handle your short round 3. And some things you can kind of play around with this deck, you could, you know, like Skellige Storm, you could kind of try and swap that in there if you wanted, move some provisions around. But I think between all the cards I have, we should have enough Rain effects on the other side, but you could definitely play around with that. And then some of the bronze cards are definitely interchangeable. I definitely want to keep your messengers. Those are absolutely busted card, and so nice that you can set up like on deploy. They can already get to like, you know, 7 power, 8 power sometimes. And then those little drummer guys really help too, because, you know, it's nice to play that card first, and then they can get the Rain that'll then set up the messenger and also boost it if the rows are matching. But yeah, that Kelpie artwork, I mean, that is something amazing. I figured that was a Pitfall trap or a whatever the one that's damaged by 5, so I didn't want to play Kelpie because it either, you know, deal out more damage to Pitfall or it just get deleted with the other one. Incinerating Trap, that's what it's called. I'm actually kind of remembering names this time. It's a miracle. So we're playing into Crushing Trap here. Probably need to start spacing some units out. Also, I find it interesting. I have ran into a lot of traps this patch. Granted, I'm at lower ranks because I deranked a lot, so I don't know what you guys grinding up towards pro rank are experiencing. But I thought that was really interesting. I haven't played in a moment, so I don't know if like Reavers are still terrorizing ladder, and, you know, if you can take that round 1, trap should absolutely demolish Reavers, especially if you tech in like a surrender. Surrender with like 2 crushing traps is gonna delete any Reavers they have, and then you should be able to just outpoint all their other engines they have, because they don't tend to run a lot of passive engines. Which that's why I make sure to do like drummers when I was playing Reavers. For that reason, so it's not all just damage based.
Take my near life and grant them your strength in return. Born to hang will never drown.
I think with 3 messengers, this should be a pretty solid win here. Like a 2-0. We'll see though. Again, oh, there's... Yeah, you can't ever discount elves though, because when they start playing Isengrim and Vernacial, it's pretty disgusting. So you can see here, this is a little bit like the awkwardness I was talking about. And I honestly should have just killed more Deadeyes in case you had a cargo. Doesn't look likely, but anyways, back to my point here. You can see a little bit of the awkwardness where it's playing it late there, so we might not get a chance of getting Death Wish, but our opponent does something very questionable and just goes in and kills it. I don't know what that was about. I really think that's a huge throw, but this should just kind of end the game here. It's so satisfying to see. Look at the points. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We were 1 away. Oh wow. Man, you love to see that. But yeah, save your leaders. Try and just... Your leaders with Kelpie, you know, put all that rain onto one row. Kraken, put the Storm on the other one. Drop Ryogon. It's good stuff. Anyways, let's hop into this next match here. Again, we got Scoia'tael. We got movement. This could be scary. They have a little bit of extra reach to try and answer some of our engines. We kind of have our 3 mulligans set out for us. Fortunately, we didn't work on Roach.
You can kiss my tail goodbye.
Okay, so we do have to kind of figure out a little bit what they're going to be here. If like what type is it? Like the kind of more old school Milva decks, or are they going where that leader there is for like a Witcher deck, basically like your standard engine overload Witcher deck, and the leader is mostly just for the boost by 3 to kind of control movement there, that sort of thing. Could be 2 ways with it, or are they just kind of throwing that on there as tech and it's like something else? But based off of what they've played first, I would not be surprised at all if this is like a engine overload. Okay, yeah, that just about confirms it. We'll see exactly how they spec'd it out, but we've got engine versus engine over here, and unfortunately we're not really running a whole lot of just straight up removal. Ours is more slow, so we won't be able to kind of control or stop their engines from going out. And you know, movement, full on movement there when they get going in the long run has a lot of points. And so does rain, so it'd actually be really interesting to see which one outpoints the other. They also kind of have some thing where the damage they're dealing isn't immediate in controlling, you know, what they can target and remove in many cases. So we might actually get a lot of our stuff through. But it just depends, like if they have like Saboteur and then also with Leader for just, you know, finishing off. Things like that can really add up and hurt us. Like if we can't keep any messengers down, we don't somehow get like a massive like Ryogon where we just get a bunch of weather effects over there and just board wipe them, it could be a tough matchup. So I feel like what you'd want to do is obviously win round 1, kind of make it on your terms. And then remember, with always the thing, kind of the engine that goes first usually wins, right? Like NR was a huge example back in a long time ago for NR. Not really toxic one, but like a lot of it was mid-range, and then they'd also throw in Siege. You know, you had your like dueling cards with that, Varaxis, all that good stuff, and then some people attacking Siege. If you had Siege versus Siege in that, whoever went first in the Siege round won. So, like, if you won round 1, you just, round 2, doesn't matter your card, you just start Siege, you're going to win that. And if you pass that, if you dry pass, try to go in long round, your opponent now is going to win if they started with Siege. And so I feel that's kind of going to be the same thing here, is whoever can just get their engines going first is just gonna outpoint the other person. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this value. Look at this amazing 5p card. Six for 5. Oh. But see, the thing, that card, I mean, it is one step away from being like incredibly strong. If that's 4 damage, ooh, that is a different story. That is a different story. But as it stands, I don't think it's worth it. If it's a 4p card, it'd be incredible too. That'd be another amazing buff. But you don't want 5p cards kind of being last say cards unless you're doing like Royal Guards. Also, we've missed all our messengers here. That is not good. Not ideal when you're going to try and bleed out and you want to go first with your engines. But I do think with Melusine here, we can get a lot of carryover, and it's probably going to be worth it to just go ahead and go for the bleed. We will have some solid engines here. That can also resurrect. One thing that can be a little difficult here, Melusine is getting her rain ability off. We don't have that many cultists in the deck, so you do need to pay attention to that if you want to keep using her rain ability to stack a row. Because she can be really good for that Ryogun turn. She can get a lot of rain onto it. You know, you can calculate, right, for every turn of rain, it's 2 damage, so you add up all the points on the opponent's board, and then you just make sure... divide that by 2, and as close as you can get. You know, you want to round up and over, you know, so you overshoot the damage. Just make sure there's that many turns, and you can completely remove a row if you have all that rain available. But between leader, Melusine, should be pretty doable. Our half-roos, the drummer guys.
A beautiful pair of legs, please.
Kelpie, of course. Wait, oh yeah, we don't have any messengers. We didn't have that, so... yeah, this messenger would make all the difference here. Really unfortunate draws, but... we also might be able to get some really nice tempo here. Because their tempo is a little slow before all their engines getting kicked off, so... might be able to tempo really hard, pass, and steal a card. I had that happen in a game. I can't remember if I was playing Rain or if it was another one, but my opponent was bleeding me, and I was getting like 5 or 6 passive points a turn. It was Rain. It was definitely this deck. I just don't think I had it recorded. I think it was just kind of after I had everything set, and I was just playing 1 or 2 matches to rank up. And I was up by like 30 points too, and I was getting 5 to 6 passive points. It was at least 4, because if I had Rain on both rows. Anyways, it was enough where I was like, okay, like, I'm rolling here. And he played a card and was still down like 25 something, and I'm just like, I don't think he can catch. Like, if he even plays his like last, I think he had 2 cards left, 2 or 3 cards. Man, I hero passed him. GG. Because instead of just taking the pass, he tried to play it out and didn't have the points. He wasn't able to overcome it. And stuff like that is so unbelievably satisfying. So here's an example of Kraken just being really awkward, right? Why I think it's worth cutting, because it's just never plays entirely smooth. I feel like you're always sacrificing. You're either pulling units off a row that you don't want to pull off, or you're not able to damage as many as you want, or you're not able to activate Death Wish. Like, there's always something that's a little bit off with it, that for the provisions it's worth cutting, because without it, I mean, this deck is still going to be winning. And one step closer to Golden Necker. Obviously, Fukusha and Melusine are hard to kind of give up, but opponent kind of fixes a little bit of our issue here. Really close right now. Again, you see how a messenger could have changed this. It might not even mattered one messenger. It's very likely he's got one tall punish or whatever that card is that's like destroy the rightmost unit or whatever. He could easily set it up.
The goddess protect you from all evil.
Here we go. Gonna put rain on there again. But I was also try stalking Kraken. You kind of see the value we got there. This should be GG. And if it's not, we're just gonna go ahead and pass here. Then again, if it's looking like a GG, might as well go ahead and push in the kill shot. It's kind of tough in those situations where your last cards might not be that much tempo or that many points. And so, if you continue to play, you're giving your opponent with engines more chance to catch up, and then you just end on equal cards. Where you take the risk of like passing early, and then they catch up to you by only like 1 or 2 points. You're like, man, if I had just even played like a squirrel, I would have won. You know, that stuff can always be tough when you decide when you're gonna give up on a bleed. But I do think we should just push it through here. But a pass is fine as well. Could go either way. I think if we play, it's definite kill shot. But if we pass, I mean, card range. Because they'd have to throw absolutely everything at us. Then again, I don't know if we'd have any rain where we could pull out our Melusine. So the pass is probably gonna be dancing on them because I don't think they have the points. Rubbing salt in the wound, but I do think it probably would have been better to just go ahead and play it. Because Brightest Sea might not have been too hot in the short run. But it doesn't matter, we won. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Kind of saw the power the deck has. It feels really good. Really enjoyed this deck.